You don't sing, huh?
I admit it, I'm a miserable old fart who hates karaoke. So then why do I love karaoke in films? In Project Hail Mary, with its many emotional scenes, high-stakes moments, and grand visuals, why did the karaoke scene hit me the hardest? Months later, when I've forgotten the plot intricacies and the visuals are only blurrily etched in my memory, why can't I forget Eva Straat's singing? And how the hell does Sandra Huller have a karaoke scene from 10 years ago that's even more spectacular than Project Hail Mary? And then I realised, everything I hate about karaoke in real life is what I love about karaoke in film. The first question the filmmaker must answer in a karaoke scene is, does the character want to sing? If you're like me, you've probably experienced the discomfort and awkwardness of finding yourself at a karaoke bar and having a microphone shoved in your face. Choice is a powerful thing, and there is power in choosing to sing. Eva Straat chooses to walk into that room and pick up the microphone, and like any choice, we can unpick its underlying motivation. Up to this point, Straat has been cold, methodical, bureaucratic. So what prompts this choice? Is it a calculated mask slip in the name of team building? A show of emotion to calcify everyone's resolve before she sends the astronauts to their deaths? Or is she rising to Grace's challenge? You think I don't sing? Watch me. A slipping of the mask, but only to prove a point. Or is it something truly personal? A peek at the human behind the steely facade? There's power in choosing to sing. There's power in refusing to sing. There's a distinct lack of power in not wanting to sing, but being forced to do it anyway. That's the dilemma facing Eyez in Toni Erdmann. As her estranged father, Winfried, pretends to be the German ambassador for Romania and drags her along to a local family's Easter party. It's a ridiculous premise housed within a masterpiece of a film, one I know a lot of you won't have seen. But stick with me, because the karaoke scene is one of the greatest put to film, and Eyez is the perfect contrast to Eva Straat. Winfried introduces Eyez as his assistant, and as a thank you for their hospitality, suggests,
Maybe we can sing a song for you?
This lack of choice reinforces the loss of autonomy that's central to the film. Eyez is a high-powered consultant with the corporate world at her feet, and yet constantly finds herself bereft of autonomy, always at the beck and call of her client, unable to sleep in on the weekend, unable to enjoy a morning at the spa without her client's wife bothering her, unable to escape her father's orbit as he desperately tries to reintegrate himself into her life, all culminating in this, where she finds herself unable to leave out of the inertia of the moment, the unspoken peer pressure, and the sheer awkwardness of it all. And that lack of choice extends to the song itself. Whereas Straat chooses Sign of the Times, a powerful ballad of goodbye, one that's mournful crooning perfectly fits the bittersweet sentiment of the night's celebration/farewell, Eyez is left helpless, the choice of song, greatest love of all, dictated by her father. A choice made without consultation, without words, but by simply playing the opening notes. In the moments before the first note is sung, in each scene the audience is set up with very different questions. With Straat, we wonder what prompts her to get up on stage. With Eyez, there's even more to ponder. Is that a flicker of recognition in her eyes? Is this her father's desperate attempt to connect with her by trying to spark some nostalgic memory? Or is he hoping the song, a powerful anthem of self-love, will cause some awakening, reminding her of who she was before she fell into this soulless corporate life? Project Hail Mary shows that there's power in choice, and Toni Erdmann shows that, perhaps, there's power in the lack of it. To sing is to be seen. It's this act of being seen that's the source of much anguish for those who dislike karaoke like me. The feeling that all eyes are on you and your every movement, expression, word is being seen, perceived, and thus judged. When you hold the microphone in real life, your voice is heard above all others, and so you hold the attention. In film, strangely enough, a microphone is for the eyes. We, the audience, are always watching, but in a karaoke scene, we become aware of the true audience, the other characters. Even though only one person is singing, every scene is a duet between the perceived and the perceiver. It's the reason we get these establishing shots of Straat's colleagues, people who've only ever seen her as the serious, stoic, single-minded boss that she is, someone who stands outside on the deck while the party she organised rages on inside. When Straat begins to sing, this observational angle forces us to see her through the eyes of her audience, the perceived and her perceivers. And it produces these moments of surprise and delight as these people see her in a new light. But the most important perceiver is Grace. Grace, whose memory is the lens through which we witness this moment. The conversation that triggers the memory is this one, where Grace and Rocky discuss what they miss about home and who might be waiting for them. Who does Grace have except Strut? Strut, whose seriousness defines her. I've seen people say that she sacrifices her humanity for the betterment of humankind, but I disagree. This scene shows that her true self, the one that sang in an Eastern German youth choir, is still there. Her humanity's been repressed by the weight of her responsibilities, but it relishes a chance to escape. Does the later revelation of Strut's betrayal have the same effect without this earlier peek into her humanity?
This may seem like me betraying you, but it's actually me.
When her voice cracks and she holds back tears, we empathise with Grace, but also with the woman we saw on stage. An unforgivable decision that's recontextualised and made forgivable by a memory of the human behind the decision. That's what I see, and that's what Grace sees. When he's alone in space and thinks back on Strut, he sees past the betrayal to the woman singing karaoke, the woman that reminds him. In Toni Erdmann, the audience is similarly singular. In a crowd of strangers, the true audience for Eyez's performance is her father, and the scene plays out with an evolving call and response each time their gazes meet and his perception of her shifts. He goes from challenging her to play along with his ridiculous ruse, to realising she's risen to the challenge, to a look of genuine surprise as she loses herself in the song, and for a moment he almost stops playing. As Eyez's performance reaches its climax and her voice cracks belting out the line, the director makes a deliberate and brilliant choice. We're expecting to see Winfred's reaction, and instead we get this. The hostess, who doesn't know Eyez's true identity, watching on with joy and admiration as she witnesses this raw, unfiltered performance. It's a stunning contrast between her reaction and that of Eyez's father a few moments later, displaying the difference in perception between someone with no preconceived notions, who can just enjoy the moment for what it is, and the other, who carries the burden of history, context, expectations, love, and estrangement. The hostess, who can authentically embrace Eyez's authenticity, and Winfred, who can't just enjoy the moment, who can't even face his own daughter without the mask of his alter ego. And unlike Grace, who sees a new side of Strut he's never seen before, Winfred is catching a glimpse of the daughter he remembers, the one that used to perform this song with him at family gatherings or just in the living room. But she doesn't quite match up to his memory. She's her own person now, and the old tricks don't seem to work like they used to, leaving him to stew in the emotional whiplash of her curt exit. It's a situation that, much like my relationship with karaoke, can only be described like this.
Oh, it is very complicated.
More than any other form of expression, singing can give rise to a crippling self-consciousness. I'll happily sit here talking into a microphone, but if you ask me to sing, my soul might depart my body. It's that inherent vulnerability of standing up there and pouring out your emotions that makes karaoke so uncomfortable for me. But it's also what makes these scenes so unforgettable. My relationship with karaoke is defined by self-consciousness. For Strut and Eyez, it's what defines their karaoke scenes. Each sheds their self-consciousness on stage, and each gains it back in different ways. For Strut, the vulnerability is in the choice to remove the armour she's carefully constructed around herself. To allow herself a few minutes of freedom in a life filled with restraint. It signals the slightest relaxation. Everything's going according to plan, the mission will launch, and the rest is up to God. So she allows her mask to slip, allows herself to be happy. It's only human. The karaoke scene is a study in her guilt, a guilt that's brought about as the architect of Project Hail Mary. A guilt that she denies.
Must be hard having to ask everybody to,
Actually, it isn't.
But that we see her wrestle with when she reaches these two lines in the song.
We can meet again somewhere far away from here.
Her voice softens and her eyes drift downward, a moment of contemplation within the joy, where the irony of the lyrics jolts her out of her momentary freedom, where she's brought crashing down to earth by her self-consciousness. Does she stop because she won't be able to hold herself together if she continues? Or because she's afraid her audience will realise the hypocrisy of the lyrics? She's no longer the architect of the moment. She didn't choose this flavour of vulnerability to have her decisions laid bare by the lyrics and her guilt amplified. She's terrified everyone will conclude she's the monster that she's afraid of becoming, that her humanity truly is lost. And the real irony, much like my own neurotic overthinking when it comes to karaoke, is that it's all in her head. No one in the crowd is analysing the lyrics, they're simply enjoying the moment. But once you get into your own head and let the self-consciousness take over, you just want to shrink away. This scene, innocent and happy on its surface, is where we subconsciously feel the weight of her position. How demanding, how difficult it must be that even a minute of freedom can grant such elation. And it's this earlier glimpse into her humanity and inspection of her guilt that makes the ensuing accident all the more tragic. We know, without needing to be told, that Strat blames herself. That she chides herself. If only she didn't relax, maybe it wouldn't have happened. The guilt is unjustified, but understandable. And just like her reaction to the accident, when the guilt creeps in here, she retreats into her seriousness.
And that is enough.
Her terseness is a defense mechanism as she halts her performance. But the beauty of karaoke's vulnerability is that it can't be taken back. So her attempt to return to the status quo is drowned out by raucous applause. For Eyez, the singing is forced, which brings its own special flavour of vulnerability, a mixture of anger, annoyance, and the inner urge to just walk away, bound together by social pressures that she's all too familiar with in her day job. Having a character sing unlocks a unique perspective, one where the words simultaneously matter and don't matter, where the singer can fixate on the lyrics and find meaning like Strat, or they can just let go and allow the emotion of the music to carry them away. Though the lyrics of Greatest Love of All certainly have deeper meaning in the context of Eyez and her father's broken relationship, particularly the line about never finding a hero to look up to, it's her rendition of the song that says the most. You don't need to hear her sing to witness her inner journey, to see her self-consciousness peak at the beginning of the performance and then get slowly stripped away as she loses herself in the song and finds herself in the process. Sandra Huller and Maren Ade, the director, called this the Las Vegas version, and it's a perfect description. Eyez lives a life filled with constraints, where her time is owned by her clients or seized by her father's pranks. She could choose for this performance to be similarly constrained. She could choose to cut it short like Strat. She could choose to sing half-heartedly, but she doesn't, because this 3 minutes, it's her time, and she'll be damned if she doesn't use it. And so, we bear witness. We see the unshackling, from the burdens of her job, from her own expectations, from the shadow of her father. We see the corporate mask melt away to reveal the woman underneath. It's a microcosm of her journey through the film. But when she finishes, she experiences a cognitive dissonance. It's as if she doesn't want to acknowledge the unshackling, doesn't want her father to know that he got through to her. She clings onto her former self, to the self-consciousness. Like Strat, she retreats into seriousness, and like Strat, her attempt to return to the status quo fails. It's with the same curt nod and the same sardonic smile that Sandra Huller concludes two of the best karaoke performances in film history. And for both of the women she plays, their masks are permanently askew, indelibly affected by the vulnerability and beauty of karaoke. We've glimpsed their humanity, and we're not about to forget it. Super quick encore, if you haven't seen Toni Erdmann, please go out and watch it. Or at the very least, watch the full karaoke scene on YouTube. It's one of my favourite films of all time. I'm going to do a dedicated video on it at some point in the future. Check out my other videos, subscribe. Thank you.